Okay, boys and girls, welcome to our next installment of flipped classroom videos. Today we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing integers. And in my opinion, this of the four uh, integers that we have to work with, adding, subtracting, multiplying and dividing are the easiest. They're the most like what you do when they are both positive. There's very little difference. The only thing that you have to decide in this one is whether or not your answer is positive or negative. So unlike with adding and subtracting, you have to switch the problem around and you have to do different things. With multiplying and dividing, you're still just multiplying and dividing the numbers. You just have to then decide if it's positive or negative. And those are the two steps that we have. So to multiply or divide integers, you do two things. First, you multiply or divide, if it's a division problem, the two numbers. Then decide if it's positive or negative. And this is how you decide if it's positive or negative. If they have the same sign, it is positive. If they have different signs, it is negative. Same sign would be two positives. So if you have a positive times a positive, or a negative times a negative, that's going to give you a positive answer. Different signs would mean one of them is positive and one of them is negative. Doesn't matter which one's positive, doesn't matter which one's negative. It just depends if one is negative and one is positive. And we always multiply in sets of two, so that's why I am giving this in sets of two. If you haven't written this down yet, go ahead and pause before you move on. I'm going to move on to my next slide. In our first example, we're going to work on multiplying integers. When you multiply integers, it's finding the product. Product is another word for multiplying, so I put that there so that we could work on our skills. In our first example, I have negative 4 times negative 10. Remember, these parentheses is a form of multiplication. So I have negative 4 times negative 10. So all I'm going to do is multiply the 4 and the 10. That is 40. Got my purple pen today. That is 40. And then I have to decide if it's positive or negative. Since they are both negative, same sign, they're both negative, my answer is going to stay positive. So 40 is my final answer. For b, I'm going to multiply 15 times negative 3. So first I do 15 times 3, and that is 45. Then I have to decide if it's positive or negative. I have one positive and one negative. That's different signs. Different is negative. So that's going to be negative 45. For c, I have negative 9 times 7. 9 times 7 is 63. They're different signs. One is negative, one is positive. So that's going to be negative 63. Now example D here, I threw this in here to remind us, anything times 0 is 0. So 0 times 22 is just 0. 0 is neither positive nor negative. So you can draw it there and you have your little donut right there. So that's 0. Now the one thing you got to remember when you're multiplying and dividing integers is to make sure that you don't confuse your rules with adding. They are different rules on deciding if they're positive or negative, so you don't want to mess those up. All right. If you're not done writing those down, go ahead and pause. I'm going to move on to our next example, which is going to be dividing integers. Example 2, dividing integers here. Now we're going to find the quotient. Quotient is another word for dividing integers, the answer to a division problem. So I want to go over those, make sure we know what these words mean. Dividing quotient, same thing. You're just going to divide the numbers, and then you're going to decide if it's positive or negative. So in the first example here, I have negative 24 divided by 3. Well, 4 divided by 3 is 8. I have one negative and one positive, different signs, so your answer is going to be negative 8. There's my final answer. In example B here, I have negative 35 divided by negative 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5. They're both negative. That makes them the same sign. Same sign means your answer is positive. So that's positive 5. In C, I have 24 divided by negative 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4. Different signs. This one's positive, this one's negative. Different signs makes it negative. Notice it doesn't matter that the 24 is a bigger absolute value than the 6, and that's positive. That doesn't matter. That's only for adding. All we care about is that they're different signs. Different signs is going to make your answer negative. D, 0 divided by negative 10. For 0 divided by negative 10, okay, if you have 0 divided by any number, your answer is 0. 0 divided by any answer is 0. 0 is neither positive or negative, so it doesn't matter what that is. So I'm just reminding you of that. Now remember, you cannot divide by 0. It is impossible to divide by 0. Okay? And that's our dividing integers. If you have any, if you're not done writing it down, pause it. I'm going to move on to our final slide, which is going to be our problems for tonight. Here are the two problems that I would like you guys to do on your own. We'll check them tomorrow in class, so make sure you have them done in your notes. And if you need to pause this or stop it when you're done, remember, you need to go back and watch anything again, rewind, watch it again, pause it, do whatever you need to do, make sure you understand. We'll go over this in class tomorrow. Have a wonderful night.